Okay, beloveds. Um, let's try this again. There we go. Um, let's see. Um, we were speaking about the three eyes, left and right, both are third eye. Good, bad, all is one without separation. To understand contrast, you need to understand the difference between layers, such as surface and depth, light and dark, high frequency vibrations, low frequency vibrations, up and down, ascension and descension, right, middle, left, and the value of zero. And beloveds, that um, is very important that we understand movement right now, and that we understand the changes that are taking place. And the changes are evolutionary, and the changes are seasonal, and the changes are from different depths and different layers, different frequencies, different vibrations, and everything that has come before is contrast to what we have at this moment. And that is what we are to allow ourselves to, I don't want to say measure or judge, but to stay in the flow, to stay in the middle, to stay balanced. It is the contrast that will keep us balanced. And so we are to appreciate those contrasts that come with not being swept away with them, um, but using them as currents, just like when you float on top of the water, using the buoyancy, using the movement of the water and the water in your body and your flesh's contrast, the stillness, the waves, everything, learning to use the motion to stabilize yourself, to ground yourself, to be your testing ground. This is your ground zero. This is where you know is your center. This is the center of existence itself. This is your spiritual existence. And how healthy that existence is depends upon you balancing your chakras, both lower and higher, which are your consciousness, your lower consciousness and your higher consciousness. And it is a scale, it is a measure. It does move, it does flow. Just as you move and flow, just as your emotions move and flow, just as your consciousness moves and flows, just as your perception moves and flows and changes. You have to be aware of these fluctuations. And just like the eagle flying above the storm, you have to understand that chaos is the contrast that is needed at the moment for you to find balance, for you to understand the difference between what is outside of you and what is inside of you. Whether your frequency is rising higher or whether you're sinking lower. What layers are you at? Are you subconscious, unconscious, or conscious? Are you on the surface or right underneath the surface? Or are you at the deepest depths? All of these things need our attention, and we need to focus in on them and understand that everything that is taking place in order to bring awareness to the evolution of our spiritual self. Our soul is, I want to say, coming home again, but it is recognizing its own powers again, and it's finding those powers within it and not outside of itself. And it is also realizing and recognizing that everything is connected and that nothing is separate. And beloveds, that is very positive and very powerful in your regeneration, in your ability to love unconditionally, in your acceptance of both the light and the dark and the middle, and understanding that all is one, and one is not better or one is not worse than. All are necessary. All are one. You need to interconnect each one of them because each one of them serves a purpose. Just like what was just given to me is, those three-pronged plugs. They have the two, and then they have the one little round one underneath it. You need all three of those prongs on that plug to connect with the right frequency. It's one plug, but there are three prongs that fit into that electric socket. And if just one of those prongs isn't connected right, you don't get the electricity feedback. And we are like that. That is where the number 3 is. And the number 4 is coming into place because we are accepting that number 3. And we know that not only do we have these 3, but we are the plug itself. And so that's the example that just came forth. Let me keep going. Somehow, somebody who knows, wait a minute. Okay. That's why I'm on the wrong page. Okay. I hold sacred space for you in the vast consciousness of I am. I hold space for you, for your spirit, not your personal identity, because in spirit we are indivisible. And beloveds, that is one thing that I have been, I guess you could say, meditating on lately. I've been sacred space, and holding sacred space is a big thing for me right now. And understanding the process and what holding sacred space is. Holding sacred space for someone, grounding, beloved, sorry. Holding sacred space for someone is allowing that being to go deep within themselves, to find out who they are, what their consciousness is all about, and able to bring it up. You anchor them just by saying, do you. Do you. Find you. Get a hold of you. Get a hold of yourself. Love yourself. Know yourself. And I'm going to be right here. No judgment. Right here. I'm not going to interfere with your process. I'm not going to tell you what your process should look like. To me, because I realize I'm just giving you a place to feel safe being you. And this comes just from a communication, just from knowing that my presence is here when you find you, as you find you. And if you need to talk about it, I'm right here. And if you need to cry, I'm right here. And if you need to cuss and vent and tear up paper or beat a pillow, I'm right here with you. I'm giving you this sacred space in order to do this. I want you to know that your spirit and your soul is safe. And I know you have experienced soul theft before. And I'm right here. And I'm praying over you. And my spirit is right here. And I'm holding on to this sacred space for you with unconditional love. And all you got to do is do the work. Dive deep. Go past all those masks. Go past all those layers. Go past all those conditioned words. Go past all those thoughts, all those feelings. Take them off layer by layer. See what's there. And you have the sacred space to do that. And you don't have to worry about anything while you're doing this. The world is going to keep on going. But you need to do this for you. And that's what holding sacred space is for someone. And in the process of someone else saying that they're doing that for you, you learn how to hold sacred space for yourself as you go deeper and deeper into your own psyche, deeper and deeper into your own soul, deeper and deeper bonding with your spirit, knowing that you are everything and that everything else has just been contrast for you to see you so that you can say, I see me. I see me. I see what I am. I see that I am. I am this. I am unconditional love. I am the grace of God, of existence, existing in motion from century to century, from generation to generation, from aeon to aeon, from atom to full-blown human being matter. I matter. That is what holding sacred space is. And I want you to know that existence itself has been holding sacred space for us to get to this point in our evolution where we can choose to recognize ourselves as existence and recognize that everything from the light to the shadow is part of who we are. and that we are not holy without any of them. We are not holy without the darkness. We are not holy just because we shine. We need all of our elements. There are no sides, only contrast of different, vast, diverse angles, angels, degrees, variations of interpretation, reactions, and acceptance, and the attachment to the choice held with the ability of change or evolution of the one closest to the one that does not change. Beloveds, that is very important in that when how we have been taught to view, to see, to interpret is through division, through separation. And I want you to understand those two mathematical terms. Zero cannot be divided. Zero cannot be subtracted from. But yet we separate. We separate ourselves by color of skin. We separate ourselves by values. We separate ourselves by weight, by height. We separate ourselves by the color of our eyes, by the shape of our faces, our noses, our mouth, whether our teeth are straight or white, whether we're buck-toothed or they're all leveled. We separate trees. We separate animals into good and bad. Yet they were created. Some are poisonous and some are curative or healing. Both are necessary. Both have purpose. Both serve the Creator's purpose. And when you understand that about yourself, you've come a long way. You've come a long way. Your shadow is there to show you the contrast within yourself of your zero, your ground zero. Embrace your shadow self because it's necessary. And when you see the shadows of others working against you, working for you, working towards you, understand that they are serving their purpose and their roles in the lesson of existence. Do not question it. Do not judge it. Allow them to work it out. This lifetime or the next. It's not your process. Focus and concentrate on your energy, your conscious awareness. Be mindful of your own being. Be mindful of the energy that you interact with. Does it add or subtract to your spirit, to your vibration, to your frequency? Does it balance you out? Or do you just see it as the contrast that's necessary to the artistic painting that is you at this moment? Whether you are in surreal mode, or whether you are in abstract mode, or whether you are in literal or figurative, subjective or objective mode. Know that you are that eagle that flies above the chaos, and just observe it. You are that bird which observes. You don't have to dive down in it to see it, to be one with it. You can rise above it and use those currents and those waves to fly higher and higher, to remove layers and layers and layers. Generational wounds become healed because your consciousness, your conscious awareness is raising in frequency and vibration, and that is causing changes in your DNA. That is causing changes in how you breathe and how you receive information. It's causing differences in the waste products that are coming out of you. It's causing differences in the amount of ultraviolet lights and different things that you're able to receive on a deeper level, on a higher level, on a higher frequency, beyond physical knowing. These are contrasts, beloveds. This contrast is necessary for your evolution. The things that you see taking place on the planet right now, as far as government, as far as entertainment, as far as all those little mints, those little fragments that have been controlling society for the longest time and such an influence, it is now needs to serve as a contrast. You need to not be entertained, but you need to understand the contrast, the contours, the word conjugation is coming up. The conjugation. Open yourself to the changes that are necessary to receive what is already yours. You deny it by identifying solely with the flesh and not the spirit, because you're choosing what is limited above what is unlimited. You're choosing the contrast. This physical body is the contrast for the spiritual body. But you identify more with this than with what you can see with your physical eyes, rather than what cannot be seen with physical eyes. You're more attached to form. You're more comfortable with it than you are with the unseen forces and presences that have always been and that are as much a part of you as this fleshly body is. Everything, again, beloved, is contrast. Learn how to use that within your psyche. Learn how to use that within your spirituality. Learn how to use that contrast in your discernment. And the deepest question you can ask yourself is, who am I? And once you realize that you are existence itself, how are you existing? What are you existing to do? What are you existing as? What are you bringing to the planet? What are you bringing to the universe? What are you bringing to the collective? What are you bringing to the individual? What are you bringing to the children? What seeds are you planting? Is it based on unconditional love? These are the questions and the answers, beloveds. They are one and the same. And we have to learn to be conscious of them. And we have to learn to be conscious of what is going to elevate and what is going to let us down, gently or you're going to hit it hard. That's what life is. Life is going to send you tests and lessons and teachers and masters, lovers, friends, and enemies as contrast that you need. So if you're waiting for this so-called miracle paradise to just pop up and boop, you got a long wait ahead of you, because that's not nature and that's not natural. Everything in nature tells you there's a season for everything. And in that season is a blossoming and a blooming and a dying and a rebirthing. And nothing happens overnight, except the sun sets, the moon rises, and then the sun rises again in that morning. That's you can count on. Everything else is contrast. Everything else is contrast. So stop taking things so personal. You're taking it personal to your personal identity. You are not that identity. You are something much vaster. You are something much deeper. You are something much broader. You are everything and nothing at the same time. Know thyself. And learn to feel the bliss in that sacred space, within that sacred space that is held for you at this time, that is being held for you, that is coming into being, that is welcoming you. And beloveds, I offer to hold sacred space for you with each of these videos. And I am very thankful for those lessons that have allowed me to realize with real eyes and see with sight beyond sight from a deeper, a much more deeper perspective than ever before. And I'm grateful for that. And I share what I receive as always, because I believe that's my purpose. So I share with unconditional love from the vastness that I am, from the abundance that I am, from the unconditional love that I am. And I hope you realize that we are one. And I hope you dive deep within your own consciousness, within your own being that is not separate from mine. And that you realize the truth of who you are. And you realize the truth of the matrix, which is contrast, a program simulation that's necessary, just like parents are necessary. Okay, that is going to do it. Walking and flying between two fires. Walking and flying between two fires. There's the fire of hell, and there's the fire of heaven. And we are in the middle, and we are walking between the two until we realize there is no heaven and there is no hell. They're all one realm. They're all one consciousness. And that balance comes when you realize they are one, which means you have instantly regulated them and balanced them. There is no higher and lower. There is no superior and inferior. There is no good and bad. There is no positive and negative. There is only zero. There's only balance. And as long as you understand that balance is where sacred space truly exists, stay balanced. Stay balanced. Stay balanced. And it's not going to always be easy because contrast can be very subtle sometimes. It can hit you at the core of who you once thought you were. But beloveds, shed those identities. Just like you shed your dead skin cells, do you go around collecting them and holding on to them? Shed them and let them go, and things will get a lot easier. And give yourself time. Again, nothing happens instantaneously. Sorry about that. Nothing happens instantaneously. Back here. Oh well. I guess it don't matter, does it? Again, beloveds, just find your balance. Find where you feel one with everything, where you have no need to judge, where you have no need to fear, where you have no need to question, where do I fit in this? Where is my place in this? What is my part? What is required of me? Am I doing it right? When you find that middle ground, so to speak, beloveds, you will find your balance. You'll find exactly where um, you feel safe. You feel you don't care about what anyone else thinks or says. You understand that the chaos going in the world is just the world straightening itself up and shaking itself like a wet dog, shaking everything up. The earth itself is changing. Some animals are going extinct while other new ones are being discovered. Again, this is contrast with this light. Shadow. We cannot, our shadow is not us, but it's part of us. And we have to learn to accept that shadow. We have to learn that it is a part of us, and it is what? Contrast. It is contrast. So, beloveds, once again, find balance, find your bliss, find your peace, and commit to that peace. One of the things that has helped me um, get to this place within my own being is connecting with that inner peace, something that has eluded me for the longest of times, um, simply because my focus was not on peace. My focus was on survival. My focus was on not being hurt. My focus was on raising my children. It was on doing. Being wasn't so much um, an issue. It wasn't something that I was focusing on. But when you come to understand the value of inner peace, it is more beautiful than anything you've ever known because it grounds you. It helps you navigate where you need to go, where you need to be. If you find yourself drifting or being drawn into somebody else's flow, all you have to do is say, where's my peace? Where's my peace? My peace is holding sacred space for me. Where's my peace? And you find your peace. And when you find your peace, you found your sacred space. And you don't let nobody move you from that. You don't let nothing move you from that. No kind of energy, no kind of frequency move you from that. Because anything that wants you to move from there is not unconditional love. And that's what you judge that by. Anything that wants to take your peace away from you is not of unconditional love. It is the contrast. It is the fear. It is the hate. It is whatever else you want to call that. But it is not unconditional love. Because unconditional love is going to keep peace as your center, as your foundation, as your coat, as your clothes, as your warmth, as your comforter, as your guide, as your grace. Okay, beloveds, that is going to do it for me. Um, I am Valerie Ames, aka Mother with Wisdom. I am that I am. And I'm going to be doing a little bit more videos um, as I begin expanding once again from this new understanding. Namaste. Be love and be blessed. Be better than you were yesterday. And know that I'm holding sacred space for you. And I love you unconditionally. Aho.